Hey everyone, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of different cream blush formulas that will work for a variety of different skin types. So I know that with cream makeup, it can be difficult to find that one cream product that is going to work really well for your skin type, especially if you have something like oily skin or combination skin. But because there are so many different formulas out there now, I really wanted to kind of do a video so that hopefully if you're looking for that perfect cream blush formula for you, this will be helpful and you'll be able to find a formula that perfectly suits you. Before we jump in, if you do enjoy it, if you find value in it, please make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more. I use a lot of cream makeup and I do have more dry skin. Most of these picks will work on my dry skin and I also really love them, which to me is just to say that I think a lot of these formulas are very flexible. So even if they are a more matte formula and you have more dry skin, or a more dewy formula and you have more oily skin, don't be afraid to kind of blur those lines and try something different. But I also think it's really important that I offer you guys those products that I think will work particularly well for your skin. So first off, if you are someone with oily skin and you are looking for a cream blush, my number one recommendation for you would be to go with the liquid blushes from Rare Beauty. These have definitely gained a lot of traction and I am so happy to hear it. Initially, when I had first tried out this product, I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to be well received by everyone just because of the insane pigmentation of this product. These blushes, you really don't need much and it's easy to go overboard, but once you get the hang of it, once you realize that you really only need one dot, once you play around with the formula, it really is easy to use. The Rare Beauty liquid blushes come in both a dewy and a matte version. I think both would work well for oily skin, but in particular, if you really want a long wearing blush with a lot of pigment that is more on the matte side, I think the matte blushes are some of the best on the market. They have such a beautiful softening quality once they're on the skin. They're, again, matte but very blurring, and they're so incredibly thin that they mesh well and look like really highly pigmented blush, but also, I mean, they look like skin. It's not a really thick differentiation within your foundation or your blush, which is something that I look for in my cream blushes. I don't want there to be that kind of like thick product look on the skin that I think a lot of us associate with more like old school, like Anastasia contour kit kind of products, like that really thick, waxy look on the skin. So if you're looking for a very thin product with really a ton of different shades, I'll swatch the shades that I have. They are all really beautiful and I absolutely adore them. And I would also pass on the other liquid blush that Rare Beauty came out with, the one in the compacts. I think that these, even though they're more pigmented, have a much better blend and look really beautiful. Now, the next product that I would recommend to get a long wear formula for oily skin would be something like this. This is the Go-Go tint from Benefit. They also have the Benetint. You could get the Cha-Cha. These are essentially a cheek and lip stain. So though they're not a classic cream blush formula, you will apply them the same exact way. Something that's really good about using a staining product is that longevity factor of it. It will leave behind that little bit of stain and flush that tends to last longer than a product that kind of sits on top of makeup. I actually find that, for example, if you have oily skin, to go in to this product directly on the skin before you put on foundation and then put foundation on top, you'll actually be like very softly staining the skin, but that also could be a way to get a really long-lasting blush look. You do need to, however, work with this product pretty quickly because it's very liquidy. You definitely need to work quickly with it. You can tap it in with fingers or even a brush. If you really want to take your time with it and work up the color, you could also use a damp sponge. But when you're working with a stain and a sponge, there's a good chance that it's just going to kind of absorb all of the product. But this is certainly something that you might look into. I have a couple of more recommendations specifically for oily skin. So this is the Kjaer Blushmallow Soft Blusher. And as you can see, it comes in a compact like this. The actual texture is very squishy, but it goes onto the skin more like a cream to powder formula. So you're going to get this really even, soft look on the cheeks. It doesn't necessarily look like powder, but it doesn't feel really heavy the way that some creams might. A trend that you might be starting to see within my product picks is that going with something that's a little bit thinner is usually a good way to go. And something with a little bit more pigment tends to be more long wearing. So those are the two main qualities that I would start to look for within cream blush formulas. So of course, if you're watching any of my videos or other videos and someone mentions that it's both thin and highly pigmented and you have more oily skin, those are definitely like green flags that you can look for. So hopefully that is helpful, but this definitely has both of those qualities. I absolutely love this color, by the way. It's Thank You Very Much, but I don't know if this is necessarily like the berry that I think of. However, if you love these kind of like terracotta shades, this is absolutely a gorgeous color. And there are a bunch of interesting colors within this range. So if you want something a little bit unique, I think it's worth checking these out. And again, they apply really easily the way that a powder blush would. So this is especially nice for beginners if you have oily skin and you're just starting to tap into different cream blush formulas. I think that this one is a really good one to start with. And it's also very affordable. And lastly, another affordable pick are the e.l.f. Putty Cream Blushes. Now this formula is a little bit stiffer. It's more densely packed than something like the Kjaer. The Kjaer has a little bit more squish. I don't know, when I hear putty, I typically think of something a bit squishier. And this kind of dense formula that's also super, super thin makes for a product that really lasts on the skin. These have great pigmentation. Again, they blend and look really soft and very thin on the skin. It's not quite a cream to powder, but it definitely leans closer to that realm than something uber creamy and dewy. A ton of different shades to choose from. Again, I also like the bronzer if you're looking for a cream bronzer and you do have more oily skin. Now, I wanted to talk about some kind of universal cream blushes before we get into blushes for dry skin. These blushes are formulas in particular that I think will just really work for everyone. They're very no-fuss formulas. They're easy to work with. They last a long time. They have beautiful colors. And in general, they look beautiful on the skin. I think I need a bit of a Dr. Pepper break. I love the white can of the Diet Dr. Pepper. Can anyone else relate? I'm just like, so cute, so aesthetic. So I have 3 formulas in particular to talk about. The first one, and really, seriously, for years, has been one of my favorite cream blush formulas, like time and time again, are the Honest Beauty cream blushes. They have new packaging now. This one is old. I need to pick up the new one because, again, this one's old. This formula is absolutely beautiful for everyone. It's affordable. The colors are on point. But something that I love in particular about them is that they're a bit creamier than some of these other stiffer kind of blush formulas that we were just talking about. So to me, they give a touch of a creamier look on the skin that's very flattering, but they're still matte, so there's no shimmer or anything throughout the product. And they're also thin, so they're going to work really beautifully on the skin and blend with so many different products. And on top of that, I love that these can be applied like over powder. They're just such a fuss-free kind of item. They last really well because they're also quite pigmented. It's just one of those formulas that a lot of people do not talk about. I'm not sure why. I feel like I need to do like a whole dedicated hey, I still absolutely love these, like a video like that about these because I still think that they're absolutely beautiful. It's a formula that is really, really dependable. And if you are into dependable makeup the way that I am, like makeup that is going to look the same every single time, look really flushed and pretty, blend with any product, but you can also get that long wear really vibrant flush. I mean, these are definitely a product that I would look into. I also absolutely love the Take a Layer from 3CE for a lot of the same reasons as the Honest Beauty. This one is a little bit more difficult for me to find just because I'm in the United States, but you can find this on a variety of sites that do ship over here. I will leave all of these products linked down below as well. It does help to support my channel if you use those links, so thank you if you guys do end up doing that. This is the shade Diotima, and it is gorgeous. It's such a well-balanced orange shade. It's not too in-your-face orange. It's vibrant, but still somehow really neutral and pretty. This formula is very similar to the Honest Beauty, except this one is a bit blurring, whereas the Honest Beauty is more of just a natural finish, and this one has a gorgeous blurring effect. It almost looks a bit blotted on the skin. So as you can see with this kind of normal category, products that work for mostly normal skin, or really, in my opinion, everyone, they kind of have a very middle of the road creamy look on the skin. Not really dewy, not really matte, and a little bit of a blur in a product is such a nice way. Just add that bit of elegance and more of like a clean touch to any look. The colors are gorgeous. The formula, again, it really melts down into the skin. And lastly, the Skin Sparks from Phytosurgence are one of these blushes that are so beautiful for multiple different skin types. These really remind me quite a lot of like a cream version of the liquid blushes from Rare Beauty. They have a lot of different similarities. These are very, very pigmented. You really don't need much, but this texture is obviously different. In the finger, it kind of feels like there's a little bit of a tack, but then when it goes onto the skin, it gives you this really creamy look. You can kind of sheer it out and get that really pretty, like flushed look. When you buff it into the cheeks, it just really makes the cheeks come alive. They are very, very long wearing. One of these is going to last you a very long time because they are so pigmented. If you do have trouble with your cream blush not lasting, but you still love the look of a cream blush, this is a good one because I almost feel like it like sets my makeup a little bit because of that dry down that the product has. It definitely ends up being a product that you can, again, like depend on looking good as you continue to wear it, which is wonderful. Lastly, let's talk about some cream blushes that are particularly wonderful for dry skin. My favorite formula from last year were the blushes from Kjaer Weis. I absolutely love this formula. I love how creamy and healthy it looks on the skin. It's not super dewy, but it does have this really soft radiance to it that makes your skin look healthier. It just gives you a touch of a radiance and glow. They blend so beautifully. They're not a cream blush that is going to move around product with it. They're just a really easy cream blush formula. They apply and glide on the skin like butter, and I've just really absolutely been loving them. Another formula that I absolutely adore are the Cheek Kiss blushes from Milani, and I do like the liquid ones as well. I think I like the cream ones even more. I have all of the shades, and they also have one of these palettes, so I think the palette is a really good bang for your buck. These are 3 shades that you can't find in the single Milani cream blushes. I really don't think you can go wrong with any of them, but I love how gorgeous this formula is, how there's almost more of a translucent base to it that kind of makes for this really gorgeous like popsicle look. It lets your skin shine through. There's a really gorgeous soft dewiness to it. Very thin on the skin. Again, it doesn't look heavy. The Kjaer Weis blushes have more of a base pigment to them, so they're a touch more opaque. So it just really depends on, you know, what I'm feeling, what I want to go for. If I want something that has a little bit more of that translucent base, then I'll probably reach for the ones from Milani. If not, then I'll probably go with the Kjaer Weis. Another one with more of a translucent base that I really enjoy as well are the ones, hey guys, you're probably like, whoa, you look different. Yeah, I look different because I was editing this video, like I filmed and went straight to edit. And unfortunately, the footage where I talked about the Undone Beauty Lip to Cheek palettes is nowhere to be found. I digress. But the Undone Beauty formula is really gorgeous. It has these 3 different stripes in here, so you can get like the most pigmentation, a medium pigmentation, or a light pigmentation. I honestly just swirl my fingers or a brush or a sponge in all of it. This formula is nice. I'm not sure if you can hear that. It has a bit of a tack to it and a stick, which I think some people are afraid of something that is sticky, but this doesn't feel sticky on the skin. What it actually does is it helps the product adhere to the skin. There are some really creamy products that I just find they don't want to stick on the skin when you apply them, so you're kind of left with a weird patchy look to them. These have a really beautiful balance between being translucent but also adhering to the skin and also giving a very soft dew, very reminiscent of the Cheek Kiss from Milani. These are very similar products, so if you like one, you'll probably like the other. Shade Rosewood is absolutely gorgeous. I used a mix of Poppy and Rosewood on my cheeks today, but I'm just adding a little bit of Rosewood now. Just because I stuck my fingers into the pan, I might as well apply it. But these are absolutely beautiful. You can really build them up to get that juicy color. And the shade Rosewood is, I think, my favorite. One of my favorite blush shades in my entire collection. So, all right, now that I've applied more, there you go. Anyway, back to the other footage. The main difference I see between the Milani and the Undone is that the Undone goes to more of a natural finish, whereas the Milani has a little bit more dew to it. But something that I like about all of the picks from my dry skin favorites is that none of them are overly dewy or look greasy on the skin. I really want an elegant, slightly dewy formula rather than something that looks a bit greasy or distracting on the skin. So these were all of my different picks based on skin type. Again, a lot of these can be used for a variety of different skin types. Cream makeup is not just designed for one skin type. You just have to find the formula that works well for you. And it's wonderful that more brands are coming out with a variety of formulas. If you guys would like to see this with cream eyeshadows, cream bronzers, let me know down below. I would love to do those videos. And thank you guys, as always, so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.